to thank everyone for carving the time out of everyone's busy schedule. Obviously our team as well for getting ready to present a lot of things that we're excited to share with you. First and foremost, it gives us a great opportunity to connect with our member base in a more formal setting. It's great to have our one-on-one conversations, our moments of communication throughout our day-to-day lives, but certainly to have something that goes beyond the newsletter and those one-on-ones to have scheduled FaceTime, we're anticipating to be extremely beneficial for everyone involved. So first and foremost, I want to take the time to thank all of you for being here. From a standpoint for us at the club, we're extremely grateful to have all of you not only in participation tonight, but certainly for choosing 10XTO to be your second home. For a lot of the people that are in the audience here, we see you guys extremely regularly, so much so that we've broken our parking validator for some of you, just to make sure that you're able to leave. And so ultimately, what makes our club and our community so incredible, outside of the amazing people that are sitting on this stage and the people over at the club still making sure that it's functioning is you. And ultimately, as part of a community, what makes us so incredible and what I believe makes our environment so special is the way that we are able to collaborate together. And this is the perfect, precipice of that, in the sense of when it comes to what we're looking to accomplish, not only to reflect on the previous year since our last town hall around 18 months ago, but certainly to reflect on all that's happened in that time, as well as what we're looking forward to sharing with you in the year to come. So ultimately, what I want to touch on is the breakdown of the evening. First and foremost, who we have on stage, just in case anyone doesn't know. First and foremost, my name's Jordan. I'm the general manager for the club. To my left is Fariel Hasham. She is the managing director for both Hotel X as well as 10XTO. I'm sure you see her, especially if you come early in the morning. She's like clockwork with her walkthroughs of the club, and attends all of our events as well. She's our biggest cheerleader. To my right, Eddie, our director of tennis. Again, it would surprise me if anyone didn't know who he was, or anyone on the stage for that matter. To his right, we have Jade Hilton, who's joined the tennis department as well more recently, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have her. To her right, Serena Virtue, our ball of energy and everything, all things fitness. I say ball of energy and then I move on to Morgan, who of course is quite literally energy reincarnate, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have him on stage as well. To his right, Shirley, our membership sales manager. She looks after all things membership. She's going to touch on this as well, but she is a one-woman army. So in terms of everything that runs through her department, we're extremely grateful for her managing everything as a one-woman show. And to her right, we have Keegan, our operations manager. Keegan is one of our newer additions, as well as Jade, and has been integral in making sure that the club is running smoothly, efficiently from multiple departments: the play center, the members lounge, front desk, and our housekeeping team as well. So we're extremely excited to get into this with you and obviously share our account of events that have transpired over the last 18 months, as well as all the amazing things to look forward to. First and foremost, we will be recording the event as well. So for anyone who was not able to attend, we did have to move the town hall, and I appreciate everyone for their understanding and patience with doing that. So we will be recording it, as well as documenting notes for the town hall, so that we are able to share that not only for your recount of tonight, but certainly for those that are not able to be in attendance as well. The itinerary in terms of how things will break down, just again to give an overview, we're really excited to go through the last 18 months. We get so caught up with our day-to-day in terms of all the things that it takes to run the club, but certainly even for you guys from the members' experience to interact with the club, that it's always great to take a snapshot, do almost that year in review, and see all of the things that we did as a club and a community together. From there, we'll touch on some of the highlights of the club survey, some of the opportunities that we have for taking in feedback from members, the things that have either already been done as a result, or the things that we'll look forward to committing to in the future. And then we will speak to, again, the next 12 months and what that looks like from a high-level perspective, okay? So with that being said, again, the order will follow the natural progression of the way that we're seated to my right. Unfortunately, Shahir is not able to attend, so I will be your head squash pro. I am not an Olympic champion or much of a former world #1, but I will do my best to impersonate that. So that's a picture of me in case you can't see me right now, which would shock me. So first and foremost, we're going to do the recount of some of the overall club-wide events that we ran over that time period. When we take a look at March of 2022, we ran our first kids March break camp. That was a lot of fun. It's something that we will be looking to do in the future as well. It was a great environment for our club. We don't have a massive family demographic as a club, so to be able to put something on for those families that are a part of our club was great. The energy was awesome. I know the kids really enjoyed it. I know our staff did. I think overall it added a really fun environment for that week. In April of 2022, we had a really exciting opportunity to host the David Foster Foundation's massive event. Again, we closed off courts 1 and 2. It was a complete transformation. And the fact of what we're able to accomplish as a community, not only based on our space, but certainly as a brand, we were able to host an incredible event for an unbelievable cause. And as a result for that, we were able to be a part of an event that raised $11.2 million for such an unbelievable cause. And that was a great night for us to attend, but certainly to be associated with as well. We also did our beehive installation just to be a more environmentally conscious club. That is on our roof, so that's for the entire property, both the club and Hotel X as well, and we ran a kids seminar for that too, which was a lot of fun. Very informative, I think, for the kids and entertaining for the kids, but certainly informative for the parents as well. Then we launched into our Members Appreciation Barbecue in August, which we will be doing again this year as well, and we'll be soon to share that. And that was a great event too. The food was incredible. You know, the time of year certainly welcomes us all getting together, socializing, and sort of breaking that fourth wall, if you will, of you know, just being at the club, but being able to socialize, gather, and show appreciation for both our staff and of course you as our members. From there, we had our first member mixer, which was a great success, and that was motivated by two important people that are in the audience tonight, which would be Jane and Human. The two of them are certainly, you know, who we want to embody our community, our culture. They're everywhere. They're all things to all people in terms of, you know, communicating with everyone, but certainly having the best interest of the club and willing to roll up their sleeves and be a part of those solutions as well. So we certainly appreciate that from the two of you, and we look forward to carrying on that tradition in the future as well. Afterwards, still on the theme of large social club gatherings, we did our Christmas gathering, and that had the holiday twist of the ugly Christmas sweater, and that was a fun, you know, little tradition that we did, and certainly Taylor Dunn, who won, really took it to heart and wore quite literally the ugliest sweater we've ever seen. And from there, we went into our first trivia night hosted by Morgan Branch, who did an incredible job. Certainly a lot of fun, great questions. Stop for applause. Certainly a really great environment, a great buzz that was in the members lounge, and really embodies the social events that we would like to continue to offer for all of our members as well. And of course, we have many other things planned for the future as well. From there, getting into some of the policies that were implemented, there's just a few sort of high-profile ones that I wanted to draw attention to as a club, and then again, we'll go department by department so that you have the full introspective opportunity to understand exactly what was transpired, both through events, through policies, and updates, upgrades around the club as well. So with the policies that we had added, back in June of 2022, we ensured with the cooperation of the hotel that at every pool booking, we were able to add 10 spots to guaranteed for 10XTO members. That was a great opportunity because I think in the past, you know, there was challenges with gaining those spots in general at all, and the fact that we were prioritized and made sure that we represented about 25% of all available pool bookings was a really nice change, guaranteed. The other thing as part of that process that really helped assist with that as well is the fact that we moved the pool bookings over to our desk rather than through the hotel desk. That was something that really streamlined that process. You guys felt as though, you know, we were the ones responsible for looking after that reservations and would always represent your best interests, and made sure that those lines of communication were a lot more concise and dealt directly through the club. So that was definitely great as well. And then most recently in June, we also added the ability for members to bring guests during those time periods. And that was something that we know a lot of members had offered feedback to say, hey, look, during the summer months, the pool is something that becomes extremely highlighted, which we'll of course touch on during our town hall. But especially with members not being able to bring guests, enjoy the summer with friends, with family that may not be direct members with the club, that was a huge win for us. And we're excited to have heard the feedback already of people bringing guests during the summer months and making the most out of of the beautiful weather. The other thing as well that changed back in November of 22, which Keegan will speak to a little bit more in depth, is that hotel guests do not have access any longer to our change rooms. So in the past, that was a service that was part of their stay. In order to protect the privacy of members and, of course, just make sure that we have specific member-designated spaces, the change room was obviously a sensitive topic. So no longer do hotel guests have access to that space. I don't say this to deputize people to point fingers and say, I've never seen this person before, and why are they in the change room? We will look after it, of course, through our desks, but should you notice anything that seems inappropriate or anything of that nature, we, of course, ask that you do make us aware. Moving on from there, just some overall club updates, any upgrades as well that we've made around the facility. I can appreciate that this week has been extremely hot, and so as I jump in to say that the temperature on the upstairs courts was fixed, I can appreciate a little bit of irony there. The fact is that the HVAC system was fixed. Our engineering team has been working on that to ensure that that's not the case. The main issue now just becomes the sun, obviously on the west side of the glass, so the blinds will be put down at 2 p.m. every single day just as a matter to protect the temperature of the upstairs courts. If members do request them up, we will allow that, but just for their booking. So that's something that we've worked on as well, just to help manage that in the meantime. As a result, and we'll touch on this as well, you may have noticed playing on the upstairs 3 and 4 courts that when it breaks down to some of the film up on the top level, we've got some samples up there, and we can touch on what a possible solution for the temperature up there is as well, and in terms of visibility as well. In August of 2022, we extended the club weekend hours. Again, that was heavily influenced from reopening throughout COVID, but then certainly being able to take a look at our open availability, member schedules, the ability to use the club 24 hours as well. From the 4th floor gym perspective, opened up a nice availability for those with any different schedules or off-peak hour schedules. It allowed for additional court time, additional services to be extended, things like the play center become viable, especially for that 9 to 5 schedule. In October 2022, we created the member portal online, so that gave you access to take a look at all of our policies, any information happening around the club, understand the benefits of membership, the perks when it comes to the hotel, spa, restaurants as well. And so that was just a really great information hub and center, especially when we didn't have our software that we now do, which we'll certainly touch on. In October 2022, we welcomed Keegan to the team, and that was obviously a very important position just around the facility to ensure that from a facilities standpoint, a customer service standpoint, that we had someone really championing those departments and those themes. And then in November of 2022, we had Eddie and Serena step into director roles, which was, I'm sure I can guarantee the fact that everyone was extremely encouraged by that, understood the decision, and of course they certainly earned it from all of the countless hours of work they've put in to make not only their department successful, but the club as a whole. And so that was something that we were really excited to share with, and the members received that unbelievably well, as of course they should. In December of 2022, we launched our 10XTO software and our app as well. Quickly, if I can take an aside, that was a project that a lot of people had their hands involved in, and Shirley will certainly speak to it. And the reason why Shirley will speak to it is because she absolutely championed that software coming through, the implementation process, the policies, the way that the software needed to work. She really put her software hat on and was able to make sure that we executed from the standpoint of member ease, member use, all of the nitty-bitty kind of parts of the software that become a lot to manage. And so, the countless hours that we all put in, but certainly Shirley attached herself to that to make sure it was a success. And, the ease of use that we experienced from December and this point on has a lot to do with Shirley's involvement. So we certainly want to thank her for that. And then from there, we brought in new fitness equipment. That was in January of this year. And that was some equipment that certainly Serena will be able to speak to, not only in terms of the excitement surrounding that equipment, but the reasons for why that equipment was chosen. But it was great to see a refresh, a bit of a facelift and update to our 4th floor gym. And then we had in May, just recently with the Bow Valley Athletic Club, we launched our first reciprocal program. And I can speak to that a little bit more in detail shortly, but certainly having reciprocal programs available to members of our club as a private club becomes a huge factor. It's a huge, whether it's an amenity or service that we do offer, and it's out of country or out of province, or just services and amenities that we don't offer, whether that's ski or golf, which typically end up being the largest contributors and the most sought after requests. So we're really excited to be diving into that further and to begin to offer that. We have been in touch with additional clubs, both in province, out of province, and out of country as well, with ski and golf being the priority for local. So we look forward to sharing those results in the future. From the club survey, again, just to offer sort of a bird's eye view, the survey was quite extensive, and so ultimately we won't have the opportunity to dive into this as in depth as we could, but most of the main questions from a club perspective and a club standpoint that we wanted to touch on is, to me, one of the golden rules is that if as a member you've enjoyed your experience enough to refer another member, another friend or family member, someone that of course you trust and by extension would want to have the same experience as you. Ultimately we had a much more favorable yes, which is obviously a great sign, but for us, I mean, at the end of the day, we want everyone's experience to be something that they would want to pass on to those that are entrusted to them the most. Of course, some of the people that did answer no, when we get into the reasons, some of it might be financial, some of it might be that people don't live near, or some people may not have family in the surrounding area, but ultimately that's a number that we can certainly work to close the gap on. But we're excited to have heard all the reasons as to why through the club survey that someone would want to refer, and the overwhelming reasons as to why people would refer friends and family to the club and to partake in membership themselves was due to not only the facility and the services that are available, but certainly the staff. The one thing I really want to speak to in the club survey that was just overwhelmingly apparent was people's names being named specifically. And I think that speaks to the experience that this entire stage is interested and obviously involved in encouraged to participate in, but certainly from the standpoint of all of our staff, the level of pride that we show and the experiences that we want you as members to be able to partake in, that was really great to see, and I know that we shared that feedback to anyone that was named in person, and certainly it provides us opportunities to look for those opportunities even further. Moving on from there, on a scale of 1 to 10, how was the experience with the app? Overall, from an 8 out of 10 standpoint, we were looking at about 70% of people that had that response. Anytime that you unveil a new survey, a new software, there's always cause for there to be challenges. Shirley can certainly, again, speak to that a little bit following up, but ultimately we have taken a lot of consideration into the feedback that we have received from the member side of using the app, and certainly looking to enhance that experience in the days, weeks, and months to come. And then lastly, we had something that I really wanted to touch on, which is a huge perk of the membership, and that ultimately is the full benefit of the membership, and that speaks to the benefits and discounts with being associated with the hotel, with the restaurants, and with the spa as well. And it was interesting to see that there were a lot of people that weren't aware of what those benefits were, and we can speak to that a little bit further as well, but certainly making the most of that, and it's our responsibility as a property and as a club to make that process as streamlined as possible, so that you can take full benefit of it without any hiccups, bumps, or bruises. So we look forward to working with those respective teams to ensure that that process is streamlined and it becomes much more natural to be able to take advantage of. Now we're going to touch on the elephant in the room, which is, of course, the pool. Now, there's a lot to touch on here, and ultimately I can already see a lot of eyes are reading the screen and probably not paying attention, which is completely understandable. Ultimately, the first thing that I want to stress to everyone is that this entire stage completely empathizes with the experience of what's happened with the pool. And I will say, and maybe some people will roll their eyes, but believe me, this is the case, there are no more people in this room that want this pool to be built than on this stage, because it's our pool to build. We hear about it all the time. We understand what the experience would mean should we be able to offer it, and how that would not only enhance the membership experience, but certainly from the standpoint of regaining any trust or faith that's been lost during this entire process. So ultimately, when we talk about the pool, it's always been a part of the club vision. And the reason why I say that is because of some things that were done around the club in preparation for the pool. And what those things would look like is, things that may not meet the eye, but when it comes to the columns that are in the lobby, which are underneath where the pool would be built, those were reinforced with concrete to bear the weight of the pool. There was money spent towards that, knowing that that was fully intended to be done. When we take a look at the architectural designs, the renderings, the rough-in of the pool actually being done on that third floor, it's marked, it's intended for a pool to be there. So that was always the case. Now, when we get to moving further into it, you know, of course, everyone's tired of hearing about this, but it doesn't change the reality of it, is COVID completely crippled our industry, and it crippled hospitality as a whole. And from the portfolio of our ownership group, they're in the hospitality business. And so as a result of that, we also made the decision to not bill our members during COVID. Not only was it unprecedented times, we didn't want to get into what people's personal and financial circumstances were, whereas a lot of other clubs that were privately owned, should they have a board of directors or just be a private club, they ultimately continued to bill members. And so during COVID, we had over 20 months of $0 of revenue. And so between that, coupled with the next stage of the unfortunate news when it came to the pool, is now coming out of that, we ran into circumstances where everyone knows what was happening with supply chain, and not only from delivery timelines, but the increase in cost of construction goods. And so ultimately what we ran into is that the original plan of the pool and the original projections and proposal had almost tripled in price, leading it to around a $6.5 million price tag. And coupled between the increase in the project price as well as the 20 plus months of $0 of revenue, and not only that, but also coupled with the fact that we are still a brand new private club. You know, when I take a look at a lot of other private clubs in our sphere, in our area, they've been operating for 50, 75, 100 years. Ultimately for us, our momentum was heading towards a really exciting direction, and it still is, but COVID, I would imagine, affected us more than a lot of other businesses just based on the stability. And so ultimately, as we look at the pool project, we did revisit it, of course, once we had reopened and cleared the COVID cobwebs. And as we went through the process, reached out to the construction companies to take a look at what it was going to entail, we realized that at this time it's just not financially feasible or viable for us. And so it's with a heavy heart that, of course, we share that news. It's not something that we take any sort of joy or satisfaction in, because we know what this pool means. And it's, at this stage, it's more than a pool. It's the club's reputation, it's the club's identity. And so that's not lost on us. And that's something that we know we can earn back, fix, repair through all of the work that we've done over the past 18 months and what we'll continue to do until that pool is built. So with that being said, where does that leave us? That leaves us with the pool being put on a hiatus. There's no way to sugarcoat it. There is no nosedive. There is no cancellation of the project. Again, based on the lost leader of the money that's been spent towards it, as well as it being part of the vision of the club, there is the intent to still do it. We just need to get into a point where we're continuing to be open, continuing to generate revenue in order for it to make sense and for our industry and the hospitality industry to fully bounce back. Because those industries, from a statistic standpoint, are still not back to pre-COVID numbers. So then our shift has focused as a leadership group to what other avenues and what other alternatives and options are there to create an unparalleled experience, which is what our mission statement is for our members. And so there's a lot of exciting things that I'm going to speak to, but then certainly, of course, pass it along to our department heads, managers, to be able to get into the specifics surrounding that. So first and foremost, one of the main things that we're looking at and really excited to delve deeper into is a hot and cold treatment room. This is something that we obviously experienced as a club with our cold plunge initiatives. Of course, we have the steam room, but certainly from an industry and a fitness trend, that's really skyrocketing in terms of not only the health benefits, but when we ran our cold plunge workshop, it was something that really brought the club together as a community. So this is a space that Serena will speak to a lot more in detail in terms of exactly not only how it would be laid out and what the kind of wish list is, but ultimately what the benefits are, and of course, that we're excited to bring this to you. We're going to continue to expand the reciprocal program like we had mentioned. This creates us as a full service club just through pairing with clubs that do offer like-minded services or completely still in the industry but non-related to our club, again being those ski, golf, and social clubs too. We are looking at creating a member calendar as well, and this is something that's going to be really exciting because it helps us plan out the next 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months, where not only do we know that internally, where the lead time to events is sometimes maybe short notice or a month. This will be something that will be planned out intentionally, where members will have access to see exactly what that calendar looks like, to know what's upcoming. A lot of our members travel or are busy with work and things like that, and sometimes we hear a lot of the feedback that I wish I had known, or I wish I would have planned this around that so that I'd be able to attend. So that's something that we're looking forward to sharing, and again, we can touch on later as well. From there, again, one of our main things is creating those community events and bringing not only our club together, especially from a fundraising standpoint, which we've seen a lot of really exciting outcomes from, but bringing in new members as well through those initiatives and through those events, being friends, family, like-minded individuals that have the same sort of goals or likeness and tendencies between tennis, squash, fitness, overall fitness, and social well-being. The other thing that we're looking at as well is looking into additional wellness services. So things like physio on site. I talk to a lot of tennis members, a lot of squash members and fitness members who have ailing injuries, or it prevents them from being on court, or those bumps, bruises, tennis elbow I hear about more than I would like. And certainly that's something that we want to be able to be that one-stop shop where there is everything at your fingertips and at your disposal, and we'll continue to look to build towards that future. The other is the pro shop offerings. We did relaunch our initiative with Lululemon, which is great, but ultimately getting into additional services. From a stringing perspective, in the club survey, I haven't seen nicer things said about a stringing service before in my life. I think who's stringing, and also the quality of the work and the turnaround time is great, but what else can be offered in there? So we'll continue to pair not only with Lululemon, but look for additional services, clothing brands, things as simple as socks and underwear, because we all forget stuff when we're packing our gym bag. So fully filling out that offering there. The other thing as well that Keegan can speak to as well is getting plexiglass in the change rooms to block that first row of lockers. So when it comes to the day use lockers for both the men's and women's, as soon as you open the door, you have visibility into the change room. So we are working with our engineering team to construct something that will block that and make privacy a priority. We do also will be, sorry, it's hard to read. We will be enhancing the members lounge experience too. That's something Keegan will speak to further, but making sure that we look for events, even just, on a Thursday night, we do live music, or we, bring in a paint night, or we do board games and cards just as low-hanging fruit, just to make that space. We all know the confines of that space. It's hard to rejig it in a way that's going to work for everyone and for every event and everything. Certainly, moving it away from that kind of sterile environment, and there has been a change to that space, but we'll continue to make that a priority. Not just the space, but the offerings that are in there as well, which we're really excited to dive into. And then, as I mentioned, streamlining that process with hotel perks, benefits, the F&B, the spa, to make sure that that isn't something that dissuades you from actually making full use of your membership from your benefits and the perks that are provided to you. We need to make sure that those are emphasized and maximized for your benefit. And then again, as I mentioned, the film on the upstairs courts 3 and 4, just to help with visibility. I know we're a very competitive bunch, so when we lose a ball in the sunlight, some people might use it to their advantage to say that they couldn't see just because they didn't hit it well. But certainly to make sure that playing isn't affected or altered in any way needs to be our priority, and managing things like the temperature up there. It does block the sunlight as well, and the heat too. So we do have a couple of samples that are up there now. We're looking into finalizing how we will broach that subject. And now I will pass it over to Eddie and Jade to speak to the tennis program through the similar format. Again, the year in review, the survey results, and then of course what's to come. Eddie?
Thank you. Yeah, so before I get started, I'd want to first say thank you to everyone for showing up today. It's been an absolute pleasure being a part of 10XTO. Obviously, the members make the facility. The energy that's given across the board from socials, clinics, and so on, it's been a pleasure to be a part of. Obviously, when I talk about the space, very unique. I don't think that there's any space that replicates what we have here at 10XTO. You look at clubs like the Boulevard, I know it's very nice, obviously being outdoors and seeing the being on the clay courts, but nothing really resembles what we have here. Just to speak words of, when you have players like Milos Raonic, Vasek Pospisil, Bianca coming through our facility, they absolutely love this. So something that we're super proud of. Moving forward, myself, Director of Tennis, and we have Jade here as our tennis coordinator. When we just look at events that we've held in the past, a staple that we had is our club championships. Definitely our competitive route when it comes to what we offer here. In 2022 in the spring, we had 49 participants across 2 categories, so that was a nice turnout. Those that aren't competing in club championships, I will reel you into it at some point. And then when we look at the 2023 event, we had 64 participants across 2 categories, so a really good turnout. During these events, we generally host the finals day, so we try to blow it up a little extravagant. We have some offerings when it comes to food, some teas, some drinks, so we get members really supporting each other when it comes to finals day, and then we like to highlight it with our exhibition matches. One that was quite unique that we had during our Doubles Fall Classic was we had 4 players that participated that you will most likely see at the National Bank Open, whether that's through qualifying or potentially opportunities at the main draw. So through these exhibitions, we're going to always find some good talent across the city, across the country, in order to bring to in-house. Next to that, we have our ladies tennis social. I'll let Jade speak to that.
Yeah, so we hosted our first ladies social. It was nice to get a lot of women out on the court, and it was very successful, so that's something I really want to continue hosting, maybe more on a frequent basis. And we had some mimosas after, and I love my mimosas. And then viewing parties for major finals. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we often have breakfasts when we have the Grand Slam finals. So we had our French Open breakfast last time, and then our first one was actually last year for Wimbledon, and we're going to start it again for this Wimbledon. So next week's going to look a little bit more like Wimbledon in the lounge, and we're going to have some traditional English breakfast, a Wimbledon strawberry smoothie, and a high tea. So you can try all of that next week.
Yeah, a couple more things to highlight, obviously, on the events. We were lucky to host the Babolat 2023 Aero release. So this is something that Babolat came forward to us, obviously with the space that we have. They said, we want to do this release featuring Layla at your property. So this is something that we welcomed immediately. We were able to have a couple members on hand. It was a bit limited on that sense, just on the COVID restrictions at that point. So we were only able to have roughly 30 of our members on site. Hopefully something that we could continue to do, partner with other brands, Babolat, Wilson, so on, especially around that time of the National Bank Open, to host events like that. On top of that, we hosted a Lululemon photo shoot last year. This was quite unique. The US Open line that you saw in 2022 on all of their websites across the board on their tennis line was featuring our courts. Layla and Jack Sock were the models for that product line. So if you ever came across pictures with the blue background, that's our courts on the Lululemon website. Something that wasn't listed there is on one of the Tuesday nights, we were able to host a demo day. Demo day is essentially, we had ATR Sports come into our facility with a lot of rackets. This covered both tennis and squash. We always get asked the question, is just what's the right racket for me? What's the right tension? What's the right string? So on. We're going to look to host a few more of those on Tuesday nights in order to get all of our members more acquainted with the product that's across the board. Into policies, obviously a very important issue at hand was the online booking system. If you remember back a year ago, 2 years ago, you were calling in, making all of your reservations through our front desk. They did an amazing job making sure bookings ran smoothly. Obviously with club automation, that eliminates that process. So definitely happy that we were able to cover that. When it comes to other policies, something that was implemented this past year was the 8-hour cancellation and also the no-show fee. This brings us on par with a lot of clubs across the GTA. You'll see a lot of clubs have 24-hour cancellation policies. This was mainly put out due to the fact that we had a lot of last-minute cancellations, especially in prime time. The most annoying thing that we saw was 5 minutes prior to a 6 p.m. booking, a cancellation came in, and we have a court sitting idle. That being the case, we implemented this 8 hours. We thought it was that right middle ground to give members sufficient time to cancel in time. From there, we have our clothing and footwear etiquette. Footwear etiquette is mainly to conserve our courts. Obviously, we have Australian Open blue. As soon as you're on court with running shoes, dress shoes, we saw it last week, it marks up the courts very quickly. We want to protect our courts as much as possible. Our members have been doing a really good job with it. We have seen it a few times with hotel guests. We are going to clamp down on that to protect our courts as best as possible. And then finally, our general court etiquette. So, small things here would just be court cleanliness. We've seen on a number of occasions tennis lids, tennis cans just sitting around the courts. Please use the trash cans. Tennis lids are obviously a little bit of a hazard. If you clip your hand on it, that's something we don't want to see happen. And then finally, the buzzer. The buzzer was, we had it for a short period of time. It was probably about 2-3 months, mainly to end bookings on time. I know it sounded like a prison bell. So right now we haven't had any issues when it comes to members finishing court time on the hour. If something occurs, it becomes frequent, we'll reassess the buzzer. Into updates. Just a maintenance update. I'm sure you've seen around the courts the radiator blocks. This was a common nuisance. Tennis balls, getting behind, having to go pick them up. It's almost like a scavenger hunt back there. That was a nice addition that we had recently. When it comes to divider nettings, this has been in discussion for our downstairs courts. You'll see the ball machine use is always downstairs. A lot of our lessons are played down there as well. It does become a little bit of a tripping hazard, but what's quite unique about our space is the space between court 1 and court 2 is very generous versus your typical club. We never want to diminish the aesthetic of the club. As soon as you add the divider netting, that comes into question. So that's something that we've been reviewing consistently, and we'll either pull the trigger or not at some point soon. I just want to talk a little bit about the success of our players and coaches. Marina, I'm sure you've seen her at the facility. Someone I'm very proud of, someone I've worked with from the age of 15. We saw a ranking increase from her from 1180 WTA to 370 in the world. I know you'll see her around the club at times. She's traveling probably 20-25 weeks a year now. But it was very nice. The highlight there was we had probably about a dozen members come out to her match at the National Bank Open. She competed against players inside the top 100 in the world, beat the WTA 75 in the world at the National Bank. But what she really felt at home was the fact that we had a dozen of her 10XTO family come out and watch. One, it was really nice to see, and I know she's super thankful of it. Other things to gloat about, some of our 10XTO juniors have been playing in OTAs, junior nationals. We had a provincial champion this year, we had a ITF champion this year, and also the youngest participant ever at the under 12 nationals just recently. Needless to say, Coach Mike and Coach Carroll, best coaches. They're competing consistently as well. You'll see them on the ITF tour. They'll find time between lessons to nurture their own game, really take their games to the next level. Mike is ranked inside the top 40 in the world when it comes to 35 plus. Kirill is inside the top 5 on the international scene. So something I'm super proud of. Our coaches are very competitive, want to bring the best to the club. Next, just wanted to talk about Jade. Needless to say, she's an amazing addition to the team. The energy she's brought to the club, and obviously with the pedigree that she has, the experience that she has in the sport, is well felt. From the adult membership to the juniors, you could see the energy on the Saturday morning classes is well received. And then also we've added Natasha Arani. You might have seen her on your way in here. Very competitive player. She just finished at Boston College. And then a small tidbit about her background is she was actually a participant at the National Bank Open as well a few years back. So generally when we talk about the staff, super proud to say that we have one of the best in the country. Getting into survey results, we had 95 responses in total. So that's looking at roughly 1/3 of all tennis memberships participated in the survey. When we talk about court usage, the common theme was members were looking to play 3 to 4 hours per week. When we look at that in line with what's provided in the GTA, that is generally accurate. You'll see many clubs like the Boulevard, Toronto Lawn, ORC, you're playing 3 hours, potentially 4 hours a week. I know there's opportunities at 5+. If you have very flexible schedules, daytime is definitely that time to capitalize on to get to 5+ hours on court. A gauge that we use when it comes to caps is ratios. Our ratio here that we're comfortable with is 80-1. That will provide members with sufficient court time to get on court. Other clubs you'll see is 100-1. Obviously that's skewed to how many courts are available per facility. Boulevard, ORC, when you have higher numbers of courts, you'll have higher ratios, obviously just based on the variance of use. When we talk about high usage times, obviously our prime time is our busiest times. We'll say the 6, 7, 8 o'clocks. We are seeing the early AMs, the 7 AMs, the 8 AM courts being in high use right now when it comes to sectionals and non-sectionals. So we are looking at ways that if we introduce an adjusted prime time when it comes to 7 and 8 AM court times. I just want to take a bit of time on addressing the junior usage. This came up in the survey quite a few times. Right now we house 8 high-performance juniors. At the start of the year we had 12. I realize that there is a lot of usage when it comes to the kids. Something that we're going to do moving forward is reduce that in time. We've had conversations, obviously with the juniors that we're working with. They're at a high level. They're being recognized by the OTA. They're being recognized by Tennis Canada. We're looking at opportunities for them to address some of their training needs at the national facility at York University. So there's a little bit of that. There's also consolidating some of their practices. What we take a lot of let's say interest in is providing one-to-one coaching. You'll see a lot of academies at ORC, so on, are providing 3-to-1, 4-to-1. So we're going to look at addressing it, getting more players on court together. That will free up a bit of court time when it comes to what you'll see during the weeks, especially in the high peak seasons in the winter. On to tennis activities. We have our tennis ladder, definitely a staple that you've seen from the beginning of the tennis department. We've adopted a round robin format, so that's 7 to 8 players per group. Obviously there's a lot of, the reason behind that was to induce a lot of players to compete and make sure that you're playing every participant in your group. We find that's a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to it. 7 matches in 7 weeks is definitely a lot to schedule. So that's something that we will look to refresh come the fall time. Tuesday night social, another staple that we've done since back to 2018 that we provided. The feedback that we got in the survey was the overall speed and the offering of the social. Something that we'll do going forward is pick up the pace a little bit more. We're going to be feeding, the coaches will be a little bit more engaged when it comes to creating that pace. It's not just going to be a free open play doubles. Next, with accessibility to private lessons and semi-private lessons in select hours. So this goes to, we've had a couple requests come in that we weren't able to fulfill when it comes to 5 p.m. lessons and early morning sessions. Obviously, those are the most wanted lesson times. So we are looking at ways to create a rotational basis when it comes to it that will provide more accessibility for those time slots. Women's social?
So as mentioned earlier, we had our first women's social, and that's something I do want to keep going just because it was very popular. And the other thing was having maybe a women's division in our club championships. I guess the finals this year was all men, which is great, but it would be nice to have some more women in there. And then Saturday junior clinics, it's been great to see that program grow, and it's been awesome to be a part of it. So for the winter and for the spring and fall, that'll be an 8-week program. That way we can develop a program and just develop the kids instead of just having you guys come once and then we don't see you for a few weeks. Right now for summer, it's drop-in just because I know everyone's away, so you can go away and come back. But once we get into the school year, we do want that continuity so we can develop the program. I did get some feedback that people didn't know how to sign up sometimes, so I do have a short list of parents who have their kids coming to the programs often. So if you do want to be added to that list, just talk to me after, and then I can update you guys. And you can also sign up for classes through the front desk. So, yeah.
Perfect. So just quickly with the year forward, something I wanted to speak about is the introduction of the Summer Doubles League. So this is one that, coming from a competitive background at the collegiate level, everything was very team-based. This is a great way, just a quick review of it, it's 8 teams, there's 6 teams of 7 to 8 players per team. This is self-managed, similar to an inter-county that you see across in the GTA. What we've seen is a lot of camaraderie come from this. Members getting together, doing team practices has been quite unique to see. Obviously, you'll see some matches on Wednesday night getting, we'll say, very heated. Another thing on the horizon is our National Bank Open suite outing. We have a suite reserved on August 7th. This is on an RSVP basis. Right now we're sitting at 22 participants. If we do hit another threshold, we'll get to a box of 40. Something that the team will speak about is just a calendar of events, something that you could have available to you so you know when your ladders are going to be available, when club championships is going to be on the table, and so on. Last thing that came up was a player matching system. Some of the members are struggling to find other players to play with. We're going to look at providing a matching system just catered to, or just helping you to find some partners. We'll pass it on to fitness.
Thank you. How's everyone doing? Okay? We've been sitting for a while. We feeling okay? We need to shake it out. I'm Serena. This is Morgan. We are your fitness team. One thing I want to start with, and he spoke to it too, we love our relationships with so many of you. I think coming in at 6 a.m., staying until the evening, and all things like that are worth it because we have so many amazing people that we get to interact with every day. Being a part of the fitness team has really helped me see so much beautiful growth in so many of you as well, which is ultimately why I got into this role. So there's things that I will speak to, obviously Morgan will touch on as we progress, but it's been a special journey. I missed you guys when we were closed. I'm happy you guys rejoined. I'm happy to see all the new members. That's it, but let's get into it. Here we are. All right. All right, events. I'm going to go pretty fast and loose with these. The goal of the events that we do for fitness is to A, push you outside of your comfort zone, push you beyond your edge, or do something that's new, exciting, that you can't do somewhere else. Obviously, you can do the CN Tower anywhere or on the CN Tower, but creating a group together was so much fun. I mean, it's amazing to like push you outside of obviously maybe your claustrophobia, checking in to see if we can get some steps in. You want to talk about that?
No.
No?
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
good.
sure. I can touch on it.
We're
Yeah, I
going
mean,
back and forth.
yeah, that was an amazing event to bring us together camaraderie-wise, but also for a good reason to raise funds for the WWF, right, the World Wildlife Foundation. And that was in April. A lot of our members that I see here today alongside our staff, we took place in that annual CN Tower Climb. I won 15 minutes, 15 minutes and 54 seconds, so keep that number in mind for next year. I am joking, but I do look forward to growing the numbers of not only members but staff for doing that event last year. It was really fun. It was my first time in the CN Tower, so what a way to do it. Yeah, I would look forward to having that again next year with upping the numbers and looking to have a special type of brunch, lunch, or breakfast lined up for all the participants following the event.
Mm-hmm. And doing things like that are prompting. We're going to put a team together for the Scotiabank Half Marathon and a lot of community-based events that we as 10XTO can participate as one unit. The cold plunge, obviously that's leading into a really exciting project that we're going to talk to shortly. Group Fitness Bingo. Way to go, Hillman. We had 5 winners get a $250 gift card. It was over 2 months. And what was the most exciting thing is I think seeing people push themselves beyond their threshold. Squat your body weight, run your 7-minute mile, hip thrust twice your body weight, and everything else in between. It was great to hear that there's no way I can do this, why the heck are we starting, to crushing it, finishing it, getting your gift card, and getting some cute swag from Lululemon. We'll definitely be doing that again. So I look forward to getting more people participating this year. Yoga in the Park, in case you're not aware of it, it's still going on. We have so much beautiful outdoor space. This is in conjunction with X Place, and it is pay what you can. 100% of the donations go to CAMH as well, just as an FYI. And then our Sun Salutation fundraiser. This was our first event that fitness hosted on the tennis courts that is lending itself to the experience we're gonna have this Sunday. Just great to have everyone show up. It introduced Amino Balls and Polar Joe and some really great new vendors that we are building relationships to offer more F&B and wellness opportunities for y'all. Workshops. We know them, we love them. Here's the thing with them. If you want to do one, let me know. So many of them are new, unique, or very niche. Afro Soul Flow, only Ty is going to teach that, but if you wanted to do it, let me know. You know what I mean? The singing bowls, the girlaying classes, the inversion workshops. Just, again, trying to offer something really unique. The 3-part yoga journey, we end up getting a crazy full room for that. So, again, our goal is to just elevate your wellness experience, hit your fitness goals in a fun, unique way, and always, always learn from you as to what you want. Because if you don't tell us, we don't know. Okay. Awesome. Policies. Just 2 really quickly we'll speak to. Clean up after yourself. It's just kind. It's the #1 rule in all the gyms in the world. So that'd be really great if everyone continues to do their part. I know with the hotel guests, we get a little bit hairy with it, I know. But at the end of the day, it's a space that we all want to be proud of. We do our part doing our laps, cleaning up. I mean, Keegan in a suit is there lifting the 45, so we'd appreciate some teamwork from everyone when you do see that, or come to us and let us know, and I have no problem telling someone to clean up after themselves. And then outside of that, again, it's just a respect thing of making sure you're not on your speakerphone on the gym floor. Updates, okay. My blind left eye is gonna struggle. Okay, so, group fitness classes. This is something I want to always be changing. Almost every 3 months, something's new, something's added, something's taken away that also isn't landing. Again, this comes primarily from your input. So boxing was huge, 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 constantly coming across my desk. We brought Omari to the team. Obviously, he's hitting it pretty well with a lot of people, no pun intended there, but we're hoping that his schedule also chills out in September so he can be with us a little bit more. But I'm really happy to hear that so far the classes that he's been teaching and the classes that you've been taking with him, the boxing ones, are landing pretty well. I've been told that we want more variety, so we added our bar classes, our sport mobility, and our adult dance classes. Christian is a professional ballet dancer. He's brilliant. Take his class. It's an amazing extension to your on-court time or any type of fitness goals you have. Bar has just come in hot, and I love all the feedback of everyone saying they want more of it, so it's coming, okay? Fun thing to know, there was more of it, and no one came, so I took it off, but I'll re-listen to you. All right, HIIT style classes. When I touch on the survey, you're gonna see that everyone wants more of it. We did start with 6 in February. We're at 14 now a week, and we are going to be adding. Do you wanna talk to your new classes?
Yeah. So when it comes to HIIT classes, we will be bringing one in on Monday nights at 6:30 right now. This is tentative. We keep speaking about how easy me and Serena are to communicate with. I think we pride ourselves in that. Our door is constantly open. Please come in and let us know, whether it is through an email or in person, about what times work for you, what times other members have said work for them. Oh, I wish there was a class at this time. All of us would be able to attend if it was at this time. Please let us know. But we will be adding one as of right now, outdoor HIIT class, which we had tried in the past. I will be running that. It will be in the courtyard or the 4th floor terrace, depending on availability, just off of events in there. Of course, i.e. if there is a wedding, that will be tough. And I don't want to get into a place where we are constantly kind of moving the location of it. So we may look at the courtyard. Why am I doing this? If you know me, if you follow me, I have a passion for being outside, especially in this couple months. When we live in a city like Toronto, I believe in making the most of that. So reconnecting our members with the outdoors and nature, fresh air, having the sun hit your skin, and the beautiful scenery that we have. We have this resource of an amazing, beautiful courtyard to just the west of the building, and I think it is a little bit underutilized, especially in the summer months. So you can expect bands, you can expect kettlebells, you can expect light dumbbells and mats to be brought out there. And it will be very similar to the HIIT style circuits that we see inside. We'll just be outside doing them in the sun with fresh air. We are looking to add at least 2 new AM classes, HIIT classes that I'll be running as well. We are getting the feedback that for the classes that are the classes and the instructors that are waitlisted, they should be on the schedule more often. So that's in the space of putting your aces in their places, and you've requested it, and we're listening. By the end of the month, we will have 2 new AM classes, HIIT classes, to give you members a chance to sign up for a HIIT class almost every day of the week. Because we understand that routine is big for you guys, and if those are the classes that you are really enjoying, we want to make them available for you 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Awesome. I'll touch on advanced reformer, then we'll circle back to youth classes.
Sure.
So obviously Christian coming on board last August was a huge hit with Pilates reformer. He's brilliant. If you haven't tried reformer, please give it a go. But because he's so good, we have so many people consistently coming and are now leveling up. So we are going to start differentiating level 1 and level 2 Pilates classes. Stay tuned for that. It might change more closer to September. That's when we like to make a bigger change. Again, with his schedule and availability, but there definitely will be a differentiation, and you'll need to have taken at least 5 classes to be able to take that level 2 class, just so we don't have to run through the fundamentals, just so we don't have to check in of what the springs are and resistance. You can get right into it, get your sweat on, and really be challenged and elevated, because it is endless in there. So I'm excited to be able to introduce that. Youth classes, we also have a new instructor.
Yep. So we brought in Jenny Fowler 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. She is a good friend of mine. She's worked in numerous other gyms with me. She has a background in child education. She has 2 kids of her own who she is passionate about them being off of their screens and out and getting in tune with their body and understanding how to raise their heart rate and how to collaborate their body with their mind with their body. So that is her passion. I just thought that we got a lot of requests for youth classes. The thing is that there is a weird age group with us where we're looking at typically kids 6, 7, 8 and under are kind of by default put into the play center, with kids who are 13 and over who are a little bit higher skilled fall into the high performance junior section, but we understand that there's those kids in the middle between 7 and 13 that are on family memberships that are looking for a way to sweat, that are looking for a way to find athletics or find sport or to introduce them into the workout. So we are working on that. It is just the amount of those kids has proven to be tough to get a solid schedule for, and a lot of the times it just looks like a one-on-one with those kids, which of course, I don't mind. I am very close with every child in this club, and I've worked with almost all of them as well. So we're just looking, really the answer is that we're just looking for a little bit more numbers to host those classes for the kids who are at that kind of age group in the middle. We'll continue to have them. If your child is above or below the age that we recommend for those class, please just give me a heads up. I've done it with many of you before. And I make the exception for almost all of them. My biggest concern is that if your kid is too young, movements may be a little bit too advanced for them. If your kid is too old, the movements may be boring or maybe a little bit too slow moving for them. So I and we are doing our best to create a space and create a class that every kid can kind of thrive in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so currently we have 5 on the schedule. We're looking to add more, but again, open door, give us feedback in any way that you need. Personal training, I'll just touch on quickly. This is one of the reasons why we obviously go back and forth with HIIT classes, athletic conditioning classes, and the like. We did launch the 3-pack special for 3 45-minute sessions for $99. This is still active for anyone who hasn't participated in personal training and wants, that specific one-on-one. We do often hear that you want to work on a specific lift or anything like that. That does require the one-on-one. We can't always throw, a snatch, a power clean, and those type of lifts in a HIIT style class. So if you want to just get into the nitty gritty and elevate for literally just a couple sessions, that's specifically what that is there for. Also, if you're just being introduced to the gym or whatever you want to do with your fitness journey. But because obviously our personal training program is crazy successful, it's awesome. We went from 22 sessions a week to 48 sessions a week. That is where we have to play the game with who's in the strength zone when, what time we can do the classes. We want to make sure everyone is honored in their commitment to their fitness. So I appreciate your patience when you do say, I want something at 9:30, and we're thinking, we got 3 personal training clients at that time, we got to move things around. So that's just why sometimes we're on pause or in between those types of additions or modifications. So the survey results we talked to, HIIT athletic conditioning, we got you, okay? We heard it, we said it. All right, Saturday, Sunday, those classes are getting waitlisted. We even have some 9s at the same time, 10s at the same time. We're gonna be adding more. I'm hiring a couple of new instructors. A lot of it is working around instructors' availabilities as well. So as much as I would like all 5 studios to have a class going at the same time, I have to deal with humans and I have to deal with their schedules, right? So sometimes it is very intentional and sometimes there's just a lack of resources in the moment. So auditions are beginning in August and we're looking to hire some fresh talent to get on those times. One I was really surprised about was the Monday, Tuesday, 9:30 to 12 time slot. So there will be 2 classes that Morgan spoke to being added at that time. Stay tuned. All right, year forward, let's get to it. We'll touch first on the addition of some weights. So obviously at the beginning of the year, we did get the squat rack with the platform, lat pull down, and 2 Stairmasters. Those were the equipment requests that came across our desk most frequently, so we went for it. I know that because of this kind of opened a Pandora's box, and everyone was like, well, what about this one? What about this? What about this? What about this? Which I love, because that means you want to move a certain way. But just understand we do actually have quite a lot of limitations. We are bound to some contracts. We did inherit what we have currently, so we're making adjustments as much as we can. If you have a specific move that you want to do, a specific exercise that you feel you cannot do in our strength zone or on our fitness floor, tell us. I guarantee you we'll find a way to get you that goal, okay? So when it comes to ordering equipment, the big equipment, we are limited because our space is kind of full right now. The second thing, though, that has come across our desk most frequently is heavier dumbbells. So 80s, 90s, and 100s are on their way. They are on a freight on their way over to 10XTO. Obviously, I don't know the exact delivery time, but they should be here. So we're gonna have some heavy sumo squats and shoulder presses. Get excited. And then some things that came through in the survey that I'll just bang out really quickly: 2, 3, and 5 pound weights. We have a ton in the hot yoga studio. Please use this space as your designated stretching area. I know that that's come up a few times. The hot yoga studios, it's beautiful. We have bands, we have loop bands, we have rollers. We have tennis balls if you want to do some more like myofascial stuff, and obviously the 2, 3, and 5 pound weights to elevate your mobility moment before or after you come on court. Please use that space, because I know right outside our office is where we obviously congregate a lot. It's small. We've got the big space. Use it. It's always unlocked, okay? And if something is missing in there, let me know. But I think sometimes we just don't realize how much stuff we actually have in the facility. And then steppers and things like that have been ordered that you'll start seeing on the gym floor. Once we get to the Q&A, if something pops, let me know. Weekly challenges, we did a good round of that, which prompted the group fitness bingo. That's going to be coming back again with a nice wellness, maybe a protein or electrolyte gummy or something like that for a prize. But again, just a personal PR that you might be hitting along the way. New schedule in conjunction with tennis. I'll talk to you really lately, but Eddie and I have talked pretty extensively about bringing a court to class combo to the schedule as of September, making the time slots of the group fitness schedule make more sense for those coming on or going on to court. So you might see your 7-10 p.m. class or what have you, so that it's a little bit quicker. They will be specifically like your B2B court to class that will range in athletic conditioning, sport mobility, and deep stretches that have all been requested for your tennis game and for fitness in entirety. And okay, we know the events that are coming up because I know I'm talking. Fitness Festival on Sunday, it's going to be amazing. We brought the cold tubs, we have the Normatec boots. We are expected to have over 100 people on site on the courts. If you haven't signed up, please do. It is absolutely complimentary to members. This again is just continued things that we want to be able to offer. It's also why we open it up to guests to get maybe a few more eyes on the space and just have a different wave of energy into the facility. Yoga Under the Stars, pay attention into your newsletter. We're going to be launching Jade's amazing music with a really cool event, Scotiabank Marathon group, and some fall fundraisers. So know that things are coming up. Just pay attention to the newsletter. We're going to have those calendars going. And again, if you have a charity, if you have something you want to fundraise or work towards, doors open, let us know. Last thing I'll talk to though, because it is, I think, pretty exciting, is the hot and cold space that we're looking to build. Right now, it's not the trend, I would say it's the overarching wellness necessity to elevate any type of fitness or sport goal. Infrared sauna and cold plunges are on the forefront of the plans, and making this potentially double down into a treatment space as well, as we've touched on physio, chiro, elevating more FST and the like. So that's where is on the horizon for wellness. I'm really excited too, because it will set us apart. There is not a single spot in Toronto that has a hot, cold, yoga, tennis, athletic conditioning, and everything that we have in-house. The specific contribution will absolutely set us apart, and it'll be something that obviously everyone can be a part of. So if you feel that you need something in that space, we're getting the wheels going. So again, open door, please let us know. We're only willing to make changes when you come to us. Cool?
I guess the last thing I'll just talk about as far as events coming, we will put it in the survey to find out what day works for you around the holidays, but we will be doing a winter trivia night. So we're going to bring one back based on the success of that. We'll be bringing it back. Feedback from our first trivia night in April was really great. There's tons of faces in here right now that have personally, outside of the emails, pulled me aside to say how much they enjoyed that night. And I know there's a ton of people here that have personally pulled me aside to say how pissed they are that they missed that night. So I really enjoyed eating, drinking, laughing, and quizzing with all of you guys that night. We would for sure be catering the event, just like last time. Plenty of food. with Bull's full bar service again, categories will change, music will change, groups will change, my suit will change. But we will, but look forward to that. We will put that in one of the upcoming newsletters, and you guys can let us know what time in the holidays works best.
Thank you. There we are. Again, I'll be filling in for Shahir, who couldn't be here, but of course, any feedback, questions, comments about squash, can certainly be directed to him or myself. Just to highlight the fact that we have someone as affluent in their sport as Shahir representing the squash community is incredible. The fact is we have some members who live in Washington that have taken out memberships with us, and they drive across to take training sessions with him. So, in terms of the pedigree and the lessons, the instruction that take place through squash, we're super fortunate to have him as part of our team. To do a quick run through, and then of course I see only a few squashies in the crowd, but for anyone that wants to do a deeper dive into it, Shahir can certainly speak to this, as I asked him to prepare his thoughts and notes towards the squash community. So from an event standpoint, we've obviously run our club champions. The nice thing is that it continues to grow. Our last draw had 14 people attending and playing in it, which was awesome. Most recently, we hosted our Canada Cup, which was incredible. We had the world rank number 1 and 2, world rank number 9, and former world rank number 1s as well participate. It was a really great opportunity. Some of the highest level squash played, and we were able to host 2 of the matches, which was incredible. We had a nice turnout. It was a great opportunity. We did our junior squash jam as well, which saw our HP juniors playing and meeting with them, which was sort of a once in a lifetime opportunity to see the look in their eyes when they could see not only just see their heroes play, but to be on court with them was truly a treat. And so we'll look to continue to use Shahir's networking, his resources in the squash world to continue to host really highlighting and exciting events in the future from a squash perspective. We do run our high performance junior camps as well. So that's seen a lot of success through the squash program. So we ran 3 summer camps. We did a winter and a spring as well. And each camp was averaging around 6 participants. Again, high performance juniors that have accomplished some great wins, some great tournament results, but also a lot of progress. Just based in terms of when they've entered the program to where they're at a playing level now. From a level of updates, we've just resumed our adult clinic, which is really exciting. Something that just from a player perspective, having enough people to make it make sense, similar to what Serena and Morgan were speaking to in terms of arranging these classes, these clinics. We need the level of participation to be there so that it can actually execute, it can be the experience that people are looking for. So it's been great to see the squash participation picking up around the club. Squash lessons currently we're averaging around 8 to 12 per week, and the great thing is that previously we were around 6 to 8 in the year prior. So we are seeing a level of growth there. It's also great to see people that are maybe tennis aficionados, but parlaying into a squash community. I see Daniel up there. So it's nice to see multi-sport athletes making the most out of the club, and we want to continue to encourage that bridge between racket sports. Tuesday and Sunday, we have our high performance junior clinic, and it's really exciting. Even to parlay that into conversation about the squash social, it's got to be the only club that I know of where the adult players also mingle with the high performance juniors, and it creates such a really cool environment. I think the fact that it speaks to our community that's actually looked forward to, whereas I think at a lot of clubs there would probably be a divide there where the adult members would say, I don't want to play with the kids, and the kids wouldn't want to play with the adults. It's a blast. I'm fortunate to have partaken in it myself once, and the juniors absolutely whooped me. But it was fun getting out on court and just seeing that overall vibe and that sense of community. So I think that speaks to us as a membership base, and certainly something that I'd like to see continue and thrive. And we've also seen that number of people attending the Tuesday social grow as well, which is fantastic. We are looking to continue with the high performance junior clinics just because they have seen that level of success. But a future goal that we have, and we're starting to see a lot of interest towards it, is also adding a beginner and intro clinic. This is something that hasn't been offered before because we've always had kids be a part of the HP, the high performance junior program. But we are starting to see some pickup with kids that are getting into squash, which is really nice to see. And so we'll look to host a clinic again as long as the numbers, the participation allows for it to be successful. and well attended. And same goes for the Saturday open hit. I know Shahir is always encouraged by the fact that the group chat is on fire for on a Friday to arrange the hit for Saturdays, just to get everyone on court and just have that organic, natural member play. So it's been nice to see that continue to grow as well. Obviously, with the summer months, you'll start to see things dwindle. People have plans, whether that's vacations or just enjoying the weather and otherwise. So we'll look to continue to see that grow and really pick up in September. For the year forward, one of the main focuses is looking to increase our adult lesson activity, again with the coaches that we have at our disposal, between Shahir, Darrow, Mo, as well as some ringers that we have in the club too. There's certainly a very high level of proficiency of squash at the club, so we do want to make that easy for people to get into. Again, maybe it's tennis members that have never played before but have an interest to try. I know people don't want to break form and jeopardize their tennis results, but there's certainly an opportunity there. I see Daniel disapproving of that statement. We're also looking to grow that Wednesday clinic that I mentioned from an adult perspective. It's great to have more opportunities of our squash members gathering, getting together, and having that organic play. One thing that we are looking at, and we've discussed between Shahir and myself, is looking to add a sort of open round robin on a Monday or a Wednesday, depending what works for most schedules, where we'd make it easier for squash players in the surrounding area to join the clinic and get that participation, to see that livelihood, that really fun excitement, whether that's for our friends and family of our members, or even just people that are active in the squash community to help grow the game in 10XTO. Another goal that we have is to continue to increase our participation numbers. So when it comes to club championships, getting that draw from 14 to 20 and continuing to build in that direction. That junior clinic that we mentioned, the beginner clinic, and continuing to host more of those what I would call once in a lifetime opportunities, potentially bidding on tournaments and seeing whether it's at the college level or pro level, being able to host more events from that squash community and bring that presence into the club. Again, of course, I would have loved for Shahir, and I know Shahir would have loved for him to have been here as well to speak to the program, but he is always available to discuss more in depth. He's certainly on court quite a bit when he's here, but he's also available anytime you want to reach out to him, email him, or give him a call as well. And I'm going to pass it over to Shirley.
Thank you. How you guys doing? You awake? I gotcha. All right, I'll try and make this brief. I know you guys have been sitting for a while, so thank you very much for spending your Thursday evening with us. And I'll echo what everybody else said in terms of we talk about this all the time. We really do feel like we have the best members in the world. We really enjoy spending our days with you. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to wake up and be excited to go to work because of all the people that you're around. So thank you for that. I know when I first came on after the last closure in January of 2022, I was pretty overwhelmed with the welcome that I got when I came on. So it was just a great foreshadow into the amazing community that we have here. And I'm pretty privileged to be the person that is able to welcome new members into the club. Obviously, we know we have amazing facilities, amazing amenities, but what people really come here for is the community, and it's really great for me to be able to say, hey, like we have this amazing community, and be honest and genuine about that, and then be proven right every time a new member joins and is welcomed so warmly into the club. So thank you guys for that. And if you don't know, my name is Shirley. Pleasure to meet you all. So what our biggest goal for the past year in terms of the sales and membership department has been really to get out into the community, make sure people know who we are, and make sure that they know our name. A lot of the time we get really associated with the hotel as a hotel gym, so we want to make sure that we're branching out and identifying ourselves as our own community, our own business, our own identity. So we've done a bunch of events over the past year to make that happen. So one of those being, we hosted the corporate run 2 years in a row. So in 2022 and 2023, we hosted it on our property. It was a great event both years. A lot of our staff participated in it as well, raised money for different fundraising avenues, and supported a lot of great causes. So we always love that. We also, for the first time, participated in the Waterfront Expo. So we got a booth there and just shared a little bit about our community and shared with the active community in Toronto and around, let them know who we are and let them know that we're a space for high performance athletes or beginner athletes alike. So that was quite a lot of fun. In November of 2022, we hosted Mixed Match and Mingle, which was fun to bring outside people into the community and get a chance to socialize with our wonderful members. So that was a lot of fun as well. So we're looking to continue lots of more and different community events like that. And then in March of 2023, we hosted 2 open houses, which was a lot of fun. Again, it allowed the community to come into the club, see our facilities, meet our members. A lot of you were there and were able to speak to your experiences at the club, which was fantastic, and I know people really enjoyed. So that's what we had going on this past year, and then many more to come, so I'll speak about that in a little bit. Many more events to come going forward. So some updates about our membership numbers. So we right now have 628 total members. So that's everyone, adults, children, everyone included. So we're definitely on a path of growth. Our cap will be at 1,500, but that, as we know, we're getting pretty close to our tennis cap based on the numbers that Eddie spoke about. We want to make sure we're maintaining certain ratios for the courts to make sure that those who have purchased a tennis membership have access to the courts. So we're looking roughly at about 20 memberships left before we start our wait list. So if you know any friends or family that are thinking about joining, who want to join, now is the time, because pretty soon we will have a wait list for tennis. The areas that we have the most room for growth right now are squash and fitness. So we obviously always encourage people to join there, but tennis, as we know, is a very valuable commodity in Toronto, so it is limited at this time. And then some other updates related to the membership department. We launched our enhanced referral program in March of 2023. So previously we had a referral program where you as the member would receive a credit. Now we added to that so that the person that you refer also does get a credit. So we've kind of created a little bit more of a bonus for both you and the person that you refer, so that you can kind of give them a bit of a gift by referring them to the club as well. And then something that I'm really proud of and that I was really excited about when we launched it in June was the summer experience package. So as you know, we're a members only club. Typically you have to sign on for a full membership in order to use the club. As you know, in summer months, it does get quieter. So we wanted to look at opportunities to get your friends and family into the club, give them an opportunity to try the club on a short-term basis and see if they like it, see if it's a good fit. But also a lot of people are in town for the summer, they need a place to go. So we wanted to be able to open our doors and let our members experience the club with their friends and family that were in town. So that was a hugely successful initiative, and it's still ongoing. We're still getting people for it. So we've had 43 people join for the summer experience program. So that's been really, really great. You've probably met a lot of those members, even at things like socials. And then we did have a couple people that were here tonight as well. Excuse me. So that's been really great. Now, as Jordan mentioned, one of my biggest projects this past year, along with the whole team, has been getting our new software up and running. Anyone that's done a software transition knows how big of a beast it can be. So we really started looking at the demo process in April of 2022. So we started searching. And we looked at a few different options, one being club automation, another being Jonas Club software, and game time. In the end, we did decide to go with club automation, and that was for a few different reasons. One was we needed a software with the capacity to manage the full facility. So that's fitness, tennis, squash, as well as golf. We needed it to manage our memberships as well as our billing processes in a way that made sense. We definitely needed an online booking system, which it had, so that was a no-brainer requirement. And then we also needed to streamline our membership and billing processes. So I don't know how much you know about the way billing worked prior to switching to club automation, but it was a very manual process. So we actually had to manually send all of the statements out to you for billing. Tobias is around the corner here, and he, God bless his soul, was the person that was usually doing that. So it was quite laborious, quite time consuming. So we were able to eliminate that with the new software. It did allow us to upgrade the software sooner. So we were actually still under contract up until July of this year. And our previous legacy software was CSI, which was bought out by Club Automation. So by switching to Club Automation, they absorbed the remainder of our contract, and we were able to move forward with that change sooner. So we were able to implement the online booking system sooner and the upgraded features sooner. And then we also needed a software that integrated with our current system. So that's with our elevators and our door access software, as well as our marketing software and accounting software, and all the different systems we use at the hotel. So it's a pretty large property. So there's quite a few systems at play. So we needed something that integrated across the board. So for that reason, we did decide to sign on with Club Automation in July of 2022. This was quite laborious, so it required a complete revamp of our internal membership processes and billing processes. So we, as a team, spent hundreds of hours with their implementation team, working with them, meeting with them 2 to 3 times a week at bare minimum to try and make this transition seamless. Now, with any new process, it's new software, it's not always seamless. So we did launch it in December of 2022. We know that there were some hiccups with regards to memberships, with booking, with billing. So we want to say a big thank you to everyone here for your patience and working with us during that transition process. This is, I think, my third big software transition based on different clubs that I've worked at. I've never seen one go completely smoothly. This is probably the smoothest one that I've seen happen. And a lot of it has to do with your patience and you working with us to allow it to happen. So again, thank you guys very much for that. And it looks like a lot of the issues that we were experiencing have been ironed out. That being said, there are still a few hiccups here and there. We are still working with their team to try and resolve that. Certain things are also beyond our control. So anytime we get a request for a feature from you, we actually take that to their team. We request it from their development team as well. There are certain features that I have requested 2 or 3 times to try and move the needle forward, because a lot of the time with those kinds of softwares, you have to request it multiple times to try and get it up in the queue. So anytime you're asking for things, we are taking that back. We are trying to work with their team to fix it. We're not just kind of taking it in and doing nothing with it. There are just certain things that our hands are a little bit tied with when it comes to the functionality of the software, but we do request it so that their development team can put it in their queue so that we can get it to you. So that's the big update on the new software. So looking at the year forward, we have some pretty exciting things that we're planning for the year forward. One of the things that I am most excited about is potentially no longer being an army of one. As much as I love it, I also think we've come to a point where we do need to grow the membership team. So we are looking for a new salesperson, and we are looking at potentially bringing on a membership and events coordinator that will help make a lot of the processes within the membership department a lot smoother, a lot more seamless, and allow us to put on more events more regularly, larger ones and smaller ones as well. And we will be able to kind of create more of a social calendar, which I know has been something that's been requested quite a bit. We're looking at new avenues so that we can continue to build our wonderful community. So we are connecting and working with other clubs. We've had the opportunity to connect with clubs both inside of Canada and Ontario, as well as outside of Canada. And I have found some other clubs that work similarly to us and are able to compare notes, and we're both able to help each other improve our club's processes. So that's been pretty exciting. We're looking to partner with charitable organizations to host different fundraising events, which several people have already touched on as well. We will be scheduling additional open houses, so you can look out for those in the fall, probably around September. And then we will be looking at new opportunities so that family and friends can try the club. So if we've learned anything from the summer experience program, it's that there's a bigger appetite for it than I had even realized. So that was, great to see. So we will be looking at those new opportunities. We are looking at expanding our corporate membership offerings. So, looking at different companies and trying to offer their companies memberships. If you work for a company, if you know somebody whose company would be interested in participating in that kind of a program, feel free to pass by my office, pop in and have a chat with me about it. And we can see what we can put together for you and for your team as well. And then we'll also be introducing out-of-town membership offerings. So that's something that's been on our to-do list for a while, just because we know that there are some people who have either moved out of Toronto or are looking to use the club but don't necessarily live in the city. So that is on our radar, and it's something that we're looking to launch sooner rather than later. And then this has been discussed a few different times, but of course we're looking at enhancing communication with members about club happenings and events. So that'll be with the introduction of a new member calendar, but also we're going to be expanding how we're using the app. So there's been some hiccups in unrolling how that app works. I know push notifications were something that weren't working previously, but we've been working diligently with our marketing team, who have been amazing in this regard, as well as their development team to get that fixed. So we will be utilizing push notifications to help get you information in real time. And then again, just looking at offering more social events, more events around the club, more community gatherings through the club. And so again, if there's something that you want to see happen at the club, please let us know. Please feel free to, again, pop into my office. The door is always open. Come on in if you have an idea. I am all ears. I'm happy to take suggestions, and I would love to make it happen. So, and I will pass this over to Keegan.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're all hooked up and ready to go. Hello, everyone. I'm Keegan. For those who don't know me, I'm the operations manager. I joined the team in October of this year. So yeah, we'll just hop right in here. So this is who you need to know for the operations department. So obviously we have myself there, the operations manager. We also have Tobias, who you've definitely seen at our front desk before. Familiar face, been here quite literally since the beginning. Over there also taking notes of the evening. And on the right we have Sandra, who is our housekeeping supervisor. Another friendly face that you'd see around quite often. So she's in charge of anything cleanliness related to the facility. So yeah, let's just dive right into the updates here. So on the left-hand side, we just have new additions that we've mentioned. So a couple new additions have been based on member feedback, and these are compared to other offerings at other private athletic clubs or clubs at similar levels as us. So apples, bananas, and oranges were just a small thing that we tried to include to make it a more welcoming space. So that's included in the members lounge as well as outside of the squash courts. We thought that was just a little nice touch point to have on the go, maybe not as formal as a sit-down meal necessarily, but just something quick for the members to enjoy. Building on that, we also introduced dental kits and shave kits to the change rooms. Those are pretty standard industry-wide. We thought that that is something that we should provide for you. I order them, so I know that we do go through them quite often, and they are a very heavily used amenity. That being said, those items are provided because of feedback that you as members have given us. So if there are things that are missing from the lounge or things that would enhance your experience, please let us know, because the only way we're going to improve your experience is if you tell us what we can give for you. We'll have an idea of what we can provide based on our relationships with other clubs or just our past experiences, but if there are particulars, please reach out to me specifically, or if you mention it to somebody from my team, it will get to me. But please, if there are particulars, please reach out. And then another new addition was court brushes. I'm always thinking about cleanliness of the facility, as is Sandra, so this was a little step in the right direction. There's always going to be a little bit of mess given that we're a tennis club and the fur from the ball comes off quite easily on our carpets, but the court brushes at the exit of each court was just something that we did to try and contribute to the cleanliness of the facility. We do take pride in having a facility that you're proud to bring your friends, your families to. We don't want a mess when you come here. So we really take pride in the cleanliness of the facility, knowing that there's towel stocks, knowing that the amenities are prepared for you. So we do really take pride in that.
The next step would be to mention our Lululemon apparel. So this has been pretty popular with everyone, in all honesty. Lululemon's a great brand. I think we align with our goals and values pretty similarly. They've done stuff with us in the past, and now we're obviously have the opportunity to collaborate with them. This is stuff we're providing based on members' wants and needs. It creates ease of access for you to have stuff in case you forget it, you want to represent 10XTO, you're a fan of Lululemon, there's tons of benefits. This is also still developing. So based on your feedback, we understand we might need socks, underwear, different sizes, different colors. We hear that feedback, and that's our plan for moving forward with the next step and the next orders. So this is a partnership we would like to see continue. And then over on the right-hand side, one big thing that we tried to do since I've been brought on has been to find some stability with the staffing in the Play Center. There has been times where we haven't had suitable staff, or we haven't had staff available to have the hours of operations that we would like to have. The main focus of that place is to give parents somewhere to give their kids that they trust and they're comfortable with so that they can enjoy the facility. Sometimes parents hang out and participate with the kids, and that's perfectly fine. We love that, but we are really trying to build a community, have some familiar faces in the Play Center so that there's relationships being built between the kids. I know Saturdays especially, we see a lot of familiar faces, and we've kind of gotten into a nice routine on Saturdays, so it's really nice to see that pick up, and we're hoping to build on that also. So just some Members Lounge updates here. So we extended the hours for the Members Lounge. Right now the hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30. There's a small break in between, and then from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we really did our best to get the right staff in there and get them in there during the hours that we know members are going to be there. So with that came with a addition of a breakfast menu and breakfast offerings. The lounge has become an unofficial work from home space, especially during the day. A lot of people find that that's the space to get work done, and that's why we made the decision to extend the hours to provide that offer to you. So should you want breakfast, should you want a smoothie, should you want anything from that menu, we wanted to make sure that it was available rather than having to push you to the hotel side or push you externally or tell you you'd have to wait till 5. So that was something we really wanted to do, and we are glad. We've seen a lot of pickup in the population in the Members Lounge, which is always encouraging. And then building on that as well, we've just made small changes to the menu based on feedback too. We've updated certain ingredients. We've added things, in particular like the cheeseburger, certain flatbreads, just based on feedback. But we are looking to update that menu constantly based on seasonal things, like what fits better in the summer versus the winter. And then obviously if our chefs have any dishes that they're particularly good at or want to experiment with, or suggestions from our members as well, we're always looking to update the menu. This space is designed for our members. So your feedback, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this space is intentionally designed for our members. So we want to create the best environment possible for you. Again, moving on, the menu for the beverages, it was a little stagnant for a while. So based on some feedback directly from a member actually who has some experience as a sommelier, we purchased a brand new wine stock, completely different from our old one. The pairings go well with our actual food offerings, so we did take that in mind when making that purchase. And smoothies. Smoothies has actually been a little bit of a learning curve for us. So we did introduce it originally. It didn't hit off quite as well as we wanted for a number of reasons, but we did get a lot of feedback. So we ended up relaunching the smoothies at a lower price, the cup's bigger, and we have a lot more ingredients. We have a lot more protein, supplements, and as well as some complementary things like chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, stuff along that nature. And we turned it into a process. So if you go into the Members Lounge, there is a sign that's step-by-step how to build your smoothie. And even from this week alone, looking at the POS reports, like it's been much more popular. And the intent behind that isn't necessarily to make more money from the lounge, it's to give you an option that you're going to enjoy. You can take it to go grab and go. You can enjoy it in the lounge. We really just wanted to make it a customizable experience that doesn't necessarily break the bank. We're just trying to cater to make you comfortable and welcome you into that space. And then also with the grab-and-go fridge, we have added certain things. So we've had vendors come in for certain events, like the Sun Salutation. Flow came in and they tried out a few new vitamin waters. Everyone was big fans of those flavors, so we brought them into our grab-and-go right away. Polar Joe we added, which is a protein drink mix. We added amino snacks. We added a couple new flavors of Midday Square. So we're always looking to change. We're also looking to add in some healthy options as well. So like I mentioned, your feedback is much appreciated. And then here are the survey results. So on the left-hand side, this is one I am quite proud of. So do you find our housekeeping staff to be friendly and helpful? An overwhelming yes. I'm not even going to bother asking who said no, but if you do have some tough feedback, for Steve, there we go, there it is. But if, in all honesty though, if you do have some feedback regarding the cleanliness of the facility, please let me know, because if one person is upset, then I'm not doing my job, clearly. But yeah, that is very encouraging to see. Again, like I said, we want you to be proud to bring your family and your guests and anyone you tell about the club. I want you to be proud of this space. And that's only accomplished if you are proud of the state it's in as well. So I am very happy to report those numbers. I know Sandra does a very good job of keeping her team locked into their schedule and communicating. So that is very, very encouraging to see. Moving on to, I'd say my main focal point here is how satisfied are the members with the overall experience at the Members Lounge? The answer to this question did vary between 5 and 10, but us holding ourselves to standards, we obviously want to have a 10 out of 10 experience, so anything below that raises flags for us. It's important to note that the feedback received about the chefs and the service itself was very favorable, so that is encouraging on our end, but that tells us that we're missing the mark other places. So that means we have to take a look at our menu, we have to take a look at the offerings of the menu, we have to take a look at service time, the overall service window of when you sit down, how do we greet you, how do we prepare the food, the overall window of how it's prepared. These are all the things we're looking at based on feedback. So we want to enhance your experience overall, but at the same time, we want the offerings to align with a private athletic club. So that means menu changes are incoming, and then obviously the smoothies and the wine and beverage menus that I've mentioned as well. Just because we made those changes doesn't mean we're not open to continuously changing seasonally, monthly, anything based on needs. So that is something we are diving deeply into. It is a constant project that we're working on with the chefs and with the leadership team. So that is something we're spending quite a bit of time on. And then on the far right-hand side, this was one I just wanted to mention just because we've had a lot of feedback. Some people feel passionate about it, some people not as much. But would you be interested in a paid-for laundry service? So 80% of the members have answered that it's not currently required by them or they don't feel it's necessary. I figured that I'd share that just because those who are vocal about it, they might not see that the large majority of members, it's not something that they're interested in. That being said, that doesn't take it off the table completely. We could operate on a case-by-case basis in the future, but that's just where we're at right now. The bulk of our membership isn't interested in that service at the moment, but we do have potential to use that resource in the future. Continuing with survey results, so how would you rate your customer service experience at the club? 75% of the answers were 8 out of 10 and above, so we are okay with those results, but again, we hold ourselves to very high standards here, so we would like to see that number go up. So we have a solution potentially for that, which is we are going to provide some in-depth training for our front desk team. So in late August, we're going to sit down and we're developing training programs so that they're better suited to serve you. So we're going to go over customer service, we're going to go over policies and procedures, we're going to go over conflict management. Pretty much a deep dive into all things customer service and their roles and responsibilities at this job so that there isn't any question marks or uncertainty regarding that. At that point, all of our staff will have been here for several months. So everyone is accustomed, trained, and that's leading into our busy season, which is this fall. So getting our staff prepared for that upcoming rush and anticipation of potentially summer members staying on or increasing membership, anything along those lines, we really need our desk to be locked in. So an 8 out of 10 is satisfactory, but we're looking for a 10. So anything we can do to improve, we are working with that team. And then on the right-hand side, the overall cleanliness of the facility, 94% of the answers were 8 out of 10 and above. So the year forward, a big focus of ours is to connect with other clubs. I know we mentioned reciprocal clubs already, and that is on our radar, but another way to benefit from the other clubs in our area, private clubs specifically, is to network with them. We're a relatively new club in the grand scheme of things. There's clubs, as Jordan mentioned, who have been around for 50, 75, 100 years. They've gone through some growing pains that we might not have experienced or know how to deal with at this very moment. So what we're really focusing on is finding that right network of people, whether it's a professional organization or just networking amongst ourselves, to get some clarity on some issues. I know we spoke about reciprocal clubs that we have set up, and there's also some that we've discovered that are very similar to us. So they have other pains that we share problems with. So we really want to make it a focus to build those relationships with other clubs that might lead to reciprocals, or it might just lead to innovation on our end. So there are organizations like the North American Club Directors Association that often they do meetups, and they talk about what they're offering in their club, what their members like, what their members don't like, successes they've had. So that is a big resource we want to lean on now that we're beginning to develop our identity as a club. That is something that we're going to lean on heavily. Another year forward item would be a new grab and go fridge. Not necessarily to replace the one that's in the members lounge, but we want to create sort of an ease of access. So the ideal spot for it, loosely speaking, of course, is right by the front desk underneath the TV, kind of where my office is. We're going to place it there and make that more of a beverage fridge. So your flow water, your BioSteels, small items like that. We want that ease of access. You can grab it. Front desk is right there. They can say, all right, add it to your account. It's done instantly. It kind of streamlines the process as opposed to you have to run into the members lounge, grab your drink, head upstairs. If it's just for a grab and go purpose, that is what we're looking at. And as well as that leaves room in the fridge in the members lounge to add new items. So that'll clear up some space right now because we are getting overstocked right now with products. So that'll clear it up. It's more of a beverage fridge than anything, but these are things we're looking at too, just to kind of make your day-to-day smoother, quicker, and ease of routine. And then this was touched on as well, the change room locker partition. So we have had feedback about this from multiple people, and it is very, very crucial to us. The reason I say it's so crucial is us being a private members club, we really, really want to maintain the privacy of the club. There's been a struggle, obviously, we removed hotel guest access from the change room. There's still struggles that come along with the privacy here. So that being said, when the door is wide open, there are times where the day use lockers are visible. So we've explored that with our engineering team. We've gone through materials, we've gone through measurements, and we have to make sure that it's up to code because putting a partition right by that exit is a potential fire hazard. So we just have to be very careful with any construction we are doing. That being said, it is on our radar and it is a priority for us to maintain the privacy of the athletic club. We want you to be comfortable. We don't want you thinking anything negatively or being uncomfortable while you're in our club, especially in a change room. So that is on our forefront at the moment too, just so everyone is aware. And I will pass it back over to Jordan and the rest of the team for Q&A.
Okay. I understand that it's taken some time. I think ultimately the message that I want to land with everyone is that the care, thought, and intention that goes into what we do on a daily basis and the way we feel about our members is something that we're proud to talk about. I promise you, tiring you out and hijacking your Thursday night was not a ploy to get to the Q&A so that you would give us softball questions. So I will open up the floor. Again, we talked about it a lot. Hearing from you guys is extremely important, but I can certainly appreciate and value your time, our time as well. So I certainly want to get into the Q&A. So any of the questions that you guys have about any of the content that was covered, there was certainly a lot, but we will open the floor for any questions now, or if you'd be more comfortable to share it with us, either individually, privately, by email, or in person. Any questions, or is everyone in a rush?
The summer members, the membership that's offered for 3 months, do they have the same pool privileges as the full-time members do?
So the intent was to give them the full experience of joining the club as a member would. So the answer is yes. Ultimately, it is still something that when we are taking pool reservations, we have the wait list. Members that have been with us are going to be given a priority in that sense. But ultimately, when it comes to weekend bookings, that is the same across the board as it is for all members. It's not as though they're given any extra privileges or anything of that nature. So yes.
Can I ask something about the corporate structure? Is the club owned by the hotel, or is the club a tenant of the hotel?
The club is owned by the hotel.
100% owned?
100%.
I don't need that. Got a big mouth. All right.
And I just want to add to the comment
About the pool and the bookings, I do monitor that to know how many summer memberships we do have available. So I look at their usage, I look at the usage for the courts, I look at the usage for the pool and other amenities, because I don't want to oversell that either and take away amenities from full members. So that is something that I do monitor in order to see how many of those memberships I can sell.
I understand that you've stated tonight that the construction of the pool for the members is on a hiatus. I don't really know what hiatus means, if that means it's shelved for good. You also mentioned that the cost of the construction of the pool has gone from $2 million to $6 million. And I think I've been here members, I'm not an active member here that often, but I think I've been a member here longer than any of you that's sitting up on the front here, because I was recruited from Gary when he moved from ORC. ORC was mentioned here a couple of times, and I'm still a member at ORC. I've been there for 40 years, and I came here recruited from Gary on the basis that there was going to be a pool here. It was something that it was important to me. And I went through the whole idea. I saw the renderings that were published. I saw that. I sat with some of the board and talked about tender procedures. I'm a contractor, so I even went through some of this stuff with some of the original of you. And I'm just wondering how you can determine now, if you haven't gone to tender, how the price has gone from $2 million to $6 million.
So we did.
Is this something you've pulled?
No, we did go to tender.
You went to tender?
Absolutely. So NOR is our architect. They've been our architect for the hotel as well as the club and anything that happens.
Okay.
We went back to NOR, and we had finally finalized on what kind of pool it was going to be. Everything was done. We went to tender. We got 3 quotes. The lowest one was $6.2 million.
Okay, and that was when?
Just not even a year ago.
Not even a year ago. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take it another step. And I'm not
Sure,
going to argue
yeah,
with you.
100%.
It may well have gone to $6 million. If I was to get in my car right now, and I'm a member at ORC still, been there for 40 years, and drive out to ORC, I could go to my locker, put my swim trunk on, and jump in the pool without having to book, without having to phone the front desk of the club and book, without being limited to when I can go. I'm restricted on the weekends. I'm not restricted on 2 hours. I could spend the whole day by the pool if I wanted to. I'm just wondering, why are we? I don't know. Do the hotel guests get priority over the club members?
No, everyone's at 2 hours.
Everybody gets 2 hours?
Every single person is at 2 hours.
And do they have to book through the front desk?
And they are only allowed to book the day of. They can only book, let me clarify. They can only book when they check in. They cannot book ahead of time. So the problem that we have is our pool capacity is so low. And with 400 rooms plus 600 members, it's a tough sell. So to try and be fair across the board, that's why we limit to 2 hours.
What is the pool capacity?
62.
62. And we're allowed 10 of the 62. And only on restricted time.
Well, we're allowed more than 10.
Correct.
Just based on what the bookings are. Because obviously we reach into a peak season where it becomes highly competitive as an amenity. The 10 is a minimum guarantee, not a maximum limit.
Okay, but that means that there's no one from the hotel that's using it, so we get to put more members in than the 10. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Correct. It's based on who books when, sure. But yeah, it's not like a member's going to have a reservation booked for the pool that's valid, and a hotel guest then wants it. They're not going to be booted as priority.
Correct.
Wow.
Steve, are you up to this?
There, buddy. You got pull around here. All right, I'm still not happy about the whole idea that a lot of us joined this club on the basis that we were going to have our own pool. And now hiatus means we're not going to get it.
Hiatus doesn't mean you're not going to get it. Hiatus means it's on.
I'm not going to get it in my lifetime.
Well, my owner's older than you are, and I promise it's still on his radar.
I'm going to support you because for 5, 6 years we've seen coming soon on the booking directory. And so that you have to build trust with your membership. And the lack of communication on the pool and the fact that coming soon has been on that building directory since we joined in 2019, starts to think coming soon will never come.
And I appreciate that. I do. Listen, I'm not here to make excuses for anything.
Take the coming soon off.
I'm more than happy to take the whole thing off, but then everyone's going to say, oh, see, they're not doing it at all. So, and that's not the idea. But in all fairness, in mid-2018, we opened. We closed in 2020. We've been closed for 2 years. And there was zero income in both sides of the building. And there was zero income in all of our owners' portfolios right across the board. So is it taking a little bit of time? 100% it is. And we're very sorry about that. We truly are. Because they hear it probably more than I do, but it does come to my desk as well. It's a tough go right now. And we're not hiding anything. You're a contractor. If you want to see the quotes, I'm happy to show them to you. And you can speak to NOR, if you were talking to them before. We did go to tender. Everything is on the up and up. We just honestly just cannot do it right now.
And Donna, I hear in terms of the coming soon, that's certainly not a problem. I don't want that to be a moment of contention every time you walk by and it feels like it's rubbing salt in a wound, because I hear your point. Ultimately, we knew, the town hall was brewing to have this communication appropriately. In terms of the most recent conversation we had with NOR, we wanted to make sure that the confirmation was, this is the quote based on going through the additional contractors. I completely agree with you. Leaving that up there is not going to make it come any sooner. So for the sake of transparency, which is why, of course, not only we wanted to, but needed to have this communication, we can certainly adjust that, and also the way that we speak towards that being a future amenity. Eric?
Sorry if this is, if I should know this, but can you book the pool through the app right now?
No.
Okay, would that help?
The challenge is that in terms of how the bookings are being done, is that we have to manage both members and hotel guests so that the sheet is live. So that
maybe something to look for.
For sure, it's an interesting idea just to help streamline it.
When, let's say I go for dinner at Rose's, is there any way I can just bill that dinner to my 10X account?
So this is also something that we've looked into. It's a matter of integration between the different softwares that we're using, but things like that have been on the radar. We're also looking at a dedicated members reservation line that I've been speaking to the F&B team about. Certain things like that, just that, like I mentioned, help streamline the process of looking into making good on those perks and benefits.
Okay, cool.
Jane?
Just regarding the pool and preferential hotel versus 10X. If there is no preference, then why don't 10X members have at least 10 spots on the weekend too?
So the only day you don't is Saturday.
So why?
It's honestly, the hotel is so full.
But that means that you're giving preference to the hotel guests.
You're right.
So-
You're right. But every other day it is there. It's just the Saturday that we have to absolutely limit. It becomes a really big challenge on Saturdays. Our own hotel guests don't even go.
Yeah, Friday as well. And
Sundays till
Sunday.
3 also.
So it's basically most of the day.
So
Sunday,
Saturdays and Sundays till 3. Which is all
Sunday till 3, right?
So if we could sort of be honest here, and if there is no preferential treatment, then we really should open it up to vote. With us having only 10 spots of the 62, that's not too much to ask.
I'm happy to take a look at it. I'm not going to answer that right now. I can't. It's something that we have to weigh out both sides, and at the end of the day, as much as we are one building, it becomes a real struggle on both sides. But I appreciate what you're saying, and we can absolutely take a look at it. That's why we opened it up to Friends this year, because we made the case that that's what we wanted to do. So, yes.
Yep.
Is there going to be a kids tennis ladder starting next year?
That's an any
That's a good
question.
question.
That's quite unique, actually. We've never had the volume to actually do that, but as the membership is growing, you'll see a lot of kids your age. So that's definitely something we could entertain and then offer.
Eric?
I just want to say how much I love the discreet golf, section of the club.
That's your personal office, I think.
How discreet you guys keep it. I really appreciate it. Serena and Morgan, can you talk a little bit more about sort of what you envision for some of the wellness, like the cold and the infrared and some of the longevity stuff that we've talked about a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously because there are certain things that are on pause right now, we want to make sure that there is still a wellness element. Cold plunging has just come aggressively to our faces of what you want. When we did do the cold plunge event with Unbounded, we sold out, and then every day moving forward, someone was like, when's it coming, when's it coming, when's it coming? Again, so that's why we're doing it on Sunday, and that aspect will be totally complimentary, which lended itself to being like, all right, let's use some space effectively. I can wholeheartedly say that I do think some of the fitness spaces are underutilized, right? So, and various spaces in the club in general. So it's about just restructuring and being creative and thinking about how to elevate the experience as a whole here. Infrared sauna has a total different benefit outside of the steam rooms that we already offer, and having that contrast side to side, I think obviously bodes well to how you want to elevate your game, how you want to elevate your fitness journey, and even just a moment of meditation and things like that. We're going through various modalities, if it will be more treatment, if it will be more spa-like, if it will be, there's a lot of different things out there that are in the trend of overarching wellness that we're trying to explore to see what's going to land the best. So again, hit us up, let us know if you've seen something that you think would be really interesting. But at the forefront of it is an infrared sauna. There are cold plunges. And then we're seeing, again, with the space that we use, because that's still outstanding right now. We've been measuring various spaces around the club. We'll see where that can expand. Did you want something?
Just on the cold plunge, would you think you're going to do something that would be bring in other members just because we would have a cold plunge and sauna now? Ideally, especially for fitness, right? Because the othership. Yeah, the othership. Yeah, because places like Othership, the mobile plunges that go with Unbounded, those are selling out. They're constantly, Othership's opening another location in Yorkville because they're the only one of the kind, right? So we kind of want to jump in on that before we kind of missed the mark, personally. And in terms of becoming a fitness member, there is more favor to that when we do get outside of the tennis caps and the numbers that we're trying to play with, the ratios we're trying to play with. It's just another opportunity to ideally, welcome more people into the club that aren't necessarily looking for racket sports, but are looking for wellness and fitness.
Yeah, it's a good compliment for the fitness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a reason why you're looking at infrared sauna as opposed to just like a proper dry sauna?
It depends on the space, to be honest. It depends on the insulation. It depends on the HVAC. There's a lot of different things that we're considering. No, to be honest. I'm not sold on one or the other just yet. It's going to depend on the space and how that works out, right? With the floors, the walls, and things like that, how the heat transfers depending on infrared or dry sauna. There's just those things to consider. One has not been purchased, so we're not committed to one just yet. So if one is preferential, again, let me know, and it will depend on the space and how it affects the infrastructure of that. Yep. Yeah.
Just curious about the pool. Is there in terms of what percentage dollars allocated to that gives us
Good job.
Is there a revenue target we could get?
Honestly, we're just trying to keep the club afloat right now. The club is not that it's in the negative, but it's not that it's in the positive either. We're breaking even. I think as membership increases, we're hoping that will happen. As the hotel gets better as well, we're hoping that will happen. Just to give everybody an idea, the hotel side is about 60% back to normal on where it was in 2019. So it's still going to be a bit before we get back to 2019 numbers. They're expecting 24, 25 before hotels actually get to that level. But we are one entity. We have one P&L. We have one everything. So as things get better, there's money allocated, wherever